Hey, Erica, can you hear me now? Can you at least see me like wave? Oh man. Okay, I'm back. All right, should be back. Huh? Okay. Kan ik iemand toevoegen?
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, speaking to someone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yeah, I can.
Ah, okay. Finally, somebody on the other side.
Um, is it open mode?
Hello. Hey.
Hey, speaking to someone.
Oh, I've got like a feedback loop of 5 seconds now.
Yes, yeah, I can. That's really loud.
Ah, okay.
Hang on.
Finally, somebody on the other side.
Um,
Oh man.
hey, I think maybe it's because I had the Google thing out open there as well. The
Yeah,
broadcast thing.
like my Mozilla opened 5 times and it was the Hangout was open on 2 screens. But hey, we're there. We're there.
Oh,
Are we recording now, by the way? I think we
I
actually
think
are we?
yeah, yeah, because I think that was the feedback because that was I had the Google Plus page open as well.
Ah, okay. So you also had the YouTube channel open.
Yeah.
Hey, so
But do you think it works if anyone clicks the link? Do you get a
well, right now, even though we're both in the call, it says we've got no viewers. So something is wrong. It should say that because we're both in the call and we're both viewing it.
yeah?
Uh, but I posted the link. I followed the tutorial, like set up a
Yeah.
Google Hangout on air, post a link, the viewable on YouTube. So this is pretty much how far my knowledge on this goes. Just read Lars's tutorial and then follow it.
Yeah. No, as far as I know, there's been a few difficulties to get things going, and that there's also been confusion. Like I think some people were doing their own hangouts locally or something rather than connecting together or something. Yeah, there was a lot of information to take in.
Okay.
So how are you?
So how?
We'll just have a chat and share. I'm having a cup of tea. It's 2 a.m.
Oh, I'm gonna get my beer.
I've got a glass of wine.
I think that might actually be a better idea because this one's been open for a while. I've been struggling to get through the tutorial and get it online, but hey, we're here. We're here.
What's happening in wine making?
Well, today was actually a pretty big day for me because my own challenge, which isn't quite part of the OSCEdays, but it just ended in the same weekend. I did a business case challenge for 32 students for 4 local stakeholders, and we had the grand finale tonight. And actually, it was a really nice venue. It's just across the street from where I live. It's an old theater building, a big one. and we had the small room which still housed I think 120 people visited.
Oh,
So it
cool.
was it was really cool because it was the business case challenge for with 4 different challenges, 4 student teams of 2 student teams of 4 multidisciplinary students per team, like out of the box circular innovative solutions. And that was really cool because there were a lot of actually implementable ideas, and that in just 6 weeks with students that didn't know each other. It was 4 event days in 6 weeks. Kickoff, an expertise lab with well some people of Philips there as well. We gave like business feedback, business modeling feedback. Is it implementable? Designers lab, and that was 2 weeks back, and today we had the finale. So that was kind of cool. Um, we had one winner of the 8th, but one of the companies that invested in it, he's like they call him the little general in this town because he's like this really vocal, really uh, uh, he's a personality, and he came up to me asking what will the students win, and I said like, well, we've got a placard, and they all get a goodie bag, and he just stood up and said like, okay, every team, because they participated, in my opinion, should win something. So with my company, we're going to pay them 250 euros each. For students, that's like a big amount of money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We had quite some cool challenges to solve. Like they asked, because one is from the waste plant. They had 2 challenges. Like one, we've got a lot of different resources coming through our terrain. We've got electricity and we've got heat on our terrain. We've got a lot of knowledge in our company. So what kind of new circular business model can we build? And the other one was, well, they also gather the biodegradable waste, and they now turn it into compost, and they make biogas out of it. But they asked the question, could we do something with insects, which you pretty much walk into governmental barriers, like regulatory barriers.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot.
Um, so the cool thing is that one team said like, okay, you can't use the insects, but you can use if you can't eat the insects, but you can grow bats on that, and bats produce guano, and guano is rich in phosphates, and it's an endangered species.
Yeah.
And the others, they actually located a small startup in the south of the Netherlands, which and they kind of ignored the whole insect part of the question, and they said, well, there's a small startup which has a technology which can break down cell barriers into fibers and other usable chemicals, and they can upscale it and different resources. So that
Mad.
was kind of cool.
So what are you doing? Are you doing over the weekend or?
Yeah, we've got 3 challenges with the local makerspace. One, we've got a Fab Lab. It just recently opened, and yeah, it's really cool. Um, so that's like they're only live for 5 weeks, and their Chinese laser cutter, which they bought, isn't quite live yet. It still is. There's a couple of bumps, but what they're gonna do, Van Daan Hackenberg, what's it? Precious plastics.
Plastic. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they're gonna build those machines and gonna use them as performance art for festivals, and then shred the plastics from festivals, and we're gonna work on designing gadgets that they can sell on those festivals, so they can have some sense of. Well, of course, it's more of the awareness thing. Like you throw away a lot of plastics on festivals, and then they shred it, and by making a gadget, they show you that well, you have use for materials, and so that's one of the challenges. The other one is we're going to build a database. Like architects, they've got this closet in which they have all the different kinds of materials that you can use
Yeah.
to build a house. We're going to build one, but then with waste materials.
Okay. Yeah, like a material library.
Yeah, that's a good word. The material library. And we've got a subsidy from the local government. And my students have been working on that for a year, researching that with stakeholders, government, and already doing some preliminary work with companies. So that's one of the other design challenge. So how should such a space look physically, and how can we engage the community of entrepreneurs around outside of our makers community to come in? And we've got like one free uh,
By waste
category.
materials, is that almost thinking about ones that might usually be waste materials in a stream from an industry or something that actually can be used as an input for something else?
Yeah,
Yeah, to kind of spark that, like, well, actually, it's not.
yeah, it's kind of it's aimed at the creative ecosystem at the makerspace, because there's like 80 small entrepreneurs there, like music instrument builders and furniture builders, and the whole variety. And the idea is by linking them to the industrial processes, and especially the waste materials from that. If like metal splinters or wood splinters, or there's a lot of manufacturing in our area,
Yeah,
um,
interesting.
and especially if you take metal manufacturing, there's a lot of metal which has things punched out of it. I don't know what the English word is. So you take sheet metal and you take pieces of metal out of it,
I think it's pretty
and
much
if you take that waste material and bring it to the waste library, we hope that the creative entrepreneurs just can reuse that waste stream directly without having to uh, process it that much again. Am I making any sense?
no, I'm getting you. It's good. It's nice. Yeah,
So
I'm
that's
just checking on like the Facebook thing and some other things because sometimes people have been posting when they've been trying to join but can't in different places. But I can't see anyone doing that.
so. How's your side? How's London going?
London was nice today. I think it's almost that thing. It takes time to get your headspace in the right place, and when you're busy and lots of things going on throughout
Yeah.
the year. So I think we allowed ourselves to take some time to acclimatize to. There are some people like have only seen each other probably almost like a year ago. Um, Others a bit in between in the build up, but ultimately
Hmm.
London's quite a big place, and even we're
Yeah. Yeah.
dispersed
Yeah.
where we work and what we do. So actually, it's really nice to come together around this, but it takes time to get in that right place when not necessarily you're thinking and doing about this all the time. And then also we had some new people join. That was really interesting because they had we had a few different backgrounds, but there was a lot. There were some new people around organizational behavior and governance
Hmm. Oh,
and
cool.
things of that, which is really interesting because I think that's a really key topic
Yeah.
in terms of OSCEdays and on lots of different levels. And what we've been looking at is from like the community space and the make spaces, what kind of governance and values and ways of doing or guidance is around that and how to retain that and sustainability. But then tomorrow we're we're going on tour, so we're actually going to Reading, which is just outside London, like a town. So we're going to community space, a town tomorrow, and that's also there's a green festival on. A lot of transition towns group work, Friends of the Earth, Greenpeace,
Mm-hmm.
global justice, corporate monopoly, lots of already really interesting things going on here, and a water festival as well. And what we're going to, it's a bit about like getting out and exploring and talking to people and finding out what's going on from our kind of head where we've been today and in London to hearing stories and initiatives and then coming together and like mapping them and connecting the dots between some of the different initiatives that maybe not aren't recognized as circular or open source, but actually when you step back, they actually are, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like that way. So hopefully it's not going to rain.
Yeah. Well, it's
it's,
never
it's,
if
it's a
it's been
predominantly
written.
outdoor
Yeah.
activity. Um,
So
which
did you have like any takeaways from today that you want to engage? on with the people that you're gonna meet tomorrow? Like any ideas or any assumptions about open
There's a lot
source or
about language and how to engage people with open source circular economy. OSCEdays, OSCEdays, la 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 la. And also when it's from people just on the streets or general bypasses, maybe other types of green groups and all of this, it's pretty new, and it's more about different ways or terms, or just listening to stories of what they're telling you're doing, and then maybe later on analyzing and seeing where it fits that way. So I think it's the accessibility of it
Mm-hmm.
when you take it to different places and kind of
Yeah, because it's a daunting task explaining people what like the concept, like the community that we run, like with the Boast, like something a lot of people understand that it's impressive that you have like 74 countries, cities involved, and it's about people either get the gist of open source or they get the gist of circular economy, but the combination of those two and getting that across, and that's
and
the
I think,
more.
yeah. And what we worked out, because we went with the flow because we've all been quite busy, and what could we fit in, like
Yeah.
in between. And so yeah, today was community spaces, tomorrow is like towns, and on Sunday we're doing a really nice activity that some of the volunteers have organised. Gianpietro and Rachel have been from Make Sense and things, so they're doing it like looking at the past, looking at the future, gazing all around the City of London, and got a new mayor. So an almost like an open letter of like around open source circular economy, like what would we want the new mayor to do, and that's how it's proposed. And what we actually saw is that for the people today, they might not necessarily be going on Sunday, or they've thought about it, but they wanted to connect the dots. So I think tomorrow, we're thinking, well, what can we take from today to go into the mapping and what we learned, and we're talking about like tonight and into
That's interesting.
then to then also like build up and feed into on Sunday. So there's already those aspects rather than like three distinct different events as well.
Yeah, it sounds like
it's almost like a natural project build up in between.
yeah.
Like,
It sounds like a reflective process that you're going through with your community over there.
yeah.
Like an almost a community-based inward journey on what are our values, how do communities outside of our community perceive those values, and what do they tell, what does their reaction tell about our values, and how can we implement them in the City of London?
Yeah, and like learn from each other and vice versa, and also recognize that
No.
there's a lot of people already doing things or similar things, but they're called different names.
Yeah.
And linking that in together as well. Yeah, so I think it's been good. It's like I've enjoyed having the time, and I think it's also about facilitating a space for people to get together and
that's especially that those conversations, if they lead, it's not necessarily that they should lead on any direct implementable programs or plans, but just the awareness of that other people are also working on these kind of concepts. They might be named different, the language might be different, but like the values of the concepts are the same.
and we did
that
quite a lot of reflection from what we did last year and where that's moved on a bit, and also some of the interconnections, like some of the people who took part in the London events last year are now putting on an event in Rio de Janeiro and Cambridge, for example. And there's a guy who came and helped us out on OpenLCA who's on holiday in Romania, so he joined the group there. So I think it's not just about the days, but it's how it seeds and how it flows and how people spark these conversations and actually project around it as well. So I think it's really nice to see those interconnections and reflect on that.
Yeah, especially if you see it, if you see open source circular economy and the communities as catalysts for, because it's now an event based thing, of course, but the people that participate, and especially the linkages that emerge during the OSCE days are could or should and probably are already like catalysts for projects that are already in people's workflows or in the an organization that are engaging with that kind of get an extra kick from being part of a community.
Yeah, and I think that, like you were saying, we actually spend a lot of time almost action planning. Like, so how can it be that it's not just today or these days that we do it? What are like key little bits on a project area that we want to develop and commit to, or maybe package up to get proper like support for? With the work around Open Energy Monitor and LCA, looking at how can you build life cycle thinking or some kind of eco design or design principles and kind of critical decisions, making decisions, almost like a thing we were looking at today. So, you know, what I'm making a what's it? Well, yeah, why? Who needs it? Like, what social environmental benefit does it? You know, it's almost these kind of things that, like, do you need it? No. Go back to the beginning. Think again. Down to like, okay, yes, it does serve that. Like, how do you want to really design it? Thinking about embodied energy and some of the other bits that we've gone into deeper before, but how do you start to take people on that trail?
Interesting.
Yeah. So we've got like a little action plan around some things that we want to take forward.
Like the bronze master plan.
Yeah.
But well, I'm getting a lot of feedback again. Oh, this is better a little bit. No, it's nice to hear that you take this reflective approach and take a step back, especially if you're surrounded by so many like-minded people. Because Nijmeeg's a small town, you know. There's I wouldn't say I'm the only one that's invested in circular economy, but it's fragmented, and at least people there's not a large activist scene. There's a lot of people. It's a socially driven town. They call it Havana on the Wow because it has this strong, really strong leftist bottom up organized social fabric here. But it's in an old sustainability mode, which I call a kind of a moral approach to, like, you drive an old car, so you're a bad person. But I just drive an old car because my mom is far away. I'm not that rich, so I can buy a new car. But the Netherlands on large that would probably benefit from the approach that you're using in London, because, well, Netherlands is pretty much the same. Well, how many people live in London?
I'm not sure. Or it'll be on film this, and I'll be completely wrong. I don't know. 2 million? 3 million? I don't know. 5 million? Can't remember. It's pretty big, like at least Greater London.
It's pretty big, but I like the approach that you just take a step back, because I'm like especially the last couple of months have been like nitty gritty. Just I'm doing a lot of different things, a lot of different projects.
Yeah, same.
And then you kind of lose the core values why you're doing these kind of things. It just more becomes a routine in which you don't really scrutinize why you take these kind of actions. I noticed that tonight with myself is that and the days leading up to the finale already is that I didn't feel intrinsically motivated to read the. That's like a signifier, like, okay, that's not good. That means that I'm not I'm kind of losing touch, losing how you call it, losing connection with my base or something. No, I'm kind of losing the language on that. But taking a step back and reflecting it and connecting it to the bigger values and of eco design and the social benefits. What is the actual intellectual property of the circular economy, and how is it evolving? Because there's a lot of really interesting academic work on it, and also on a practical level. That reflection, that sounds interesting to have. I think I'm gonna do a summer camp or something like on that now.
Yeah.
Just gather some people and some campfire and just take that kind of approach. Why are we doing these things? Are the things that we are doing? Why are they following that morale that we have? Are they?
Mm.
Yeah, nice approach. Nice approach that you're
Yeah.
working
And
on
I
there
think
in London.
it was almost that thing also, you just sometimes have to not take on too much.
Sorry, you don't have to what too much?
Some take on too much. And things depend on, yeah, I think like you were saying, like you end up spending a lot of time in organizing, but not actually being able to get content.
Yeah, I've so lost touch with content over the last week, which is, it's I'm blessed being able to do so many cool things with kind people in academia and with companies and with students and with activists. But you switch from a more reflective mode to a more just operational kind of mode. Just it's my day is almost email based and then getting things done based, just telephone based, and just implementing, which has its value if you can achieve impact with it. But you kind of it has a lot of value and worth just to.
I mean, we tried to set the scene today that we were lucky enough to get support from a space, the machine rooms, to host us and and present and get the conversation started and facilitate a bit at the beginning, but almost like, well, this is kind of our thing, and actually I would like to take part as well and have the time to think. And we had some really great people there also that actually stepped in and supported and did a bit of facilitation to give time for like for me and others just to get to do a little bit of the content stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I need to find more time for that.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's now having this conversation, I just realized that it's been a long time since I've been like in the content. Like my students from my honors academy, they handed in their work 2 weeks ago, and I didn't even read it because I'm so involved in my business case projects, in art projects, and I bought a company which I'm gonna pretty much try and turn into my own circular economy entrepreneurship university and a circular economy acceleration program as well. Got some other affiliated projects as well, but like the inspiring and especially the visionary stuff that helps taking the next step should come from reflection and on content that I guess empowers action in time again. But I kind of lost base with that. Huh. Interesting that a conversation at which is at 3:46 at night kind of gives that perspective.
Reflecting conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're using this us just being here. Had anyone actually said that they would join this hangout specifically, or I haven't seen
No,
any.
yeah, it's like I don't know how it works that people can say that they would join up. I posted the link a half hour before.
Yeah, I mean, I've not seen anyone on the forum going, I can't get on, or anything. Um, yeah.
Yeah, we got some response on the mentorship program though, which mostly of the boards of stewardship people, some from local organizers as well. But for a prototype of the mentorship program at least, uh, that's an interesting one to invest resources in next year because there was quite some, especially like the way that Alan MacArthur Foundation reacted positively. Like what Joe was his name? He saw the added value in having such a one-to-one kind of dialogue-based
Yeah.
a community sharing of knowledge sharing program, which they've got diff of course, which is good, brilliant, but it's more about people transmitting knowledge than the actual dialogue. the dialogue aspect of Q&A, either Reddit style or actually in Hangouts, it's yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. I think this is, I think generally also the hangouts are the bit where from the different countries is where you learn a lot. And also just, yeah, there's little nuggets that add more reflection or a new dimension to what you're doing as well.
Yeah, well, this conversation is a perfect example of that. I am so gonna reflect the shit out of the thing that I'm doing. Somewhere after in July, after the madness has
Yeah,
kind of like slowed down a little bit. But it is kind of like knowledge gets an extra layer in conversation.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like why they build university campus the way that they build. It's about
yeah.
like invoking those random encounters, which you can of
Yeah,
course
there's that
direct.
space for all the types, universities are very important for giving people a bit more time to think and learn and reflect before.
Ah, yeah. Can you remember the time where you're a student when you just reflected on things? Just get to read academic texts or just sources and just,
Hmm.
take it all in and form deep, profound opinions on it.
Yeah.
Hell.
I think,
No. Yeah.
I mean, that's a bit that sometimes, going back to circular economy as well, there's that element of slowing down as well. I think we were talking about speed bumps. um,
Speed bumps.
Speed bumps about, local connected, and also speed bumps about like this, like stop moving so fast. I mean, that's a core part of many sustainability things, or slow food, or slow things like that, and even less working hours and all of this. It's because if circles are going very fast, it still uses a lot of resources.
Yeah.
And
And inefficiently,
yeah, and
inefficiently.
it's how processes and products also relate to people and what we need to do.
Huh.
So,
Oh man.
yeah,
So is there like gonna be like a poetic bundle coming out of your discussions, like with profound insights?
I don't know. We need to do a lot of documenting catch up. The nice thing today was that thing also, like I didn't tweet much. I didn't take my photos because I just wanted to be there. And
Yeah.
there's that play off with technology and actually, um, maybe somebody might have to
Yeah.
being appointed to do that, but then they kind of miss out because you're only like half there in certain ways. Yeah, so we've got a bit of documentation.
Good. Which isn't contributing content-wise to a debate, because your brain just works in a way that if you also have to be present, but also have to like write it down, you're not there anyway. It's gonna make a choice for one of either.
So yeah,
Oh
but I think
shit, the
in the very like
documentation.
core things, there's that kind of action plan bit and getting that going, and a kind of that decision making tree focused on make space type areas.
Okay.
And like understanding more what it means to people around the world. I think there was that element of trying to maybe explore that and try and get people to tweet what does it mean to them over the next days.
Yeah, that how do you call it, the how the knowledge resolves over time or something. I don't know if that's proper English, but it would be interesting to ask people like in 2 months, like, okay, you've now had your local open source circular economy community, you discussed your values or you took actions, and looking back on the period of the last 2 months, what did you take away, and how did that change your perspective and your mode of operation? What new connections grew, and new directions, new life choices? That would be interesting to see how that actually like how that organically grows after the
Yeah,
event.
good little seeds.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
there's a possibility that our university, or like one of the professors that because my tour of duty at the university, by the way, is gonna stop. I'm pretty much finished.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go full entrepreneur, but still with a strong connection to the university. But the professor that I now still work for the coming 2 weeks, and then it's done. He's interesting in using. He's an economical geographer, so he's like, wow, that's like almost geographer's porn, because it's so many communities and there's so much knowledge bouncing around in those communities, and they all have their own
Yeah.
routines. So I discussed that with Sharon as well. That could be an interesting research subject for university. So that would be, how do you call it, subsidies or
Mm.
research grant, to get a research grant for that. And that they might actually want to enlist a PhD on the subject of the open source circular economy days, and how that because it's a global phenomenon. It's very global, but it's also so local,
Mm.
and it's really strong uh, on the yeah, so it's a global event.
Mhm.
And so I'm in the back of my mind always like observing which pieces of data could arise from what we're doing as the boast, in the way that we give community just like the small task of reporting, or having a report, or of or documenting
Yeah.
those kind of things, because they could be the seeds of a pretty interesting research project.
I mean, that's the thing also, is the amount of different activities, events, and how people have interpreted open source circular economy in the different areas, and what outcomes they've done. Um, we didn't really have a chance to fully understand and evaluate last year's with 30
No.
places. It's, like, it's even more, but there will be so much data-rich knowledge, so much amazing projects and people and things, and it's, yeah, I think
Man,
capturing the
just
impact and the output,
imagine, just like if there would be a network.
that's a full-on project in itself for a year.
That is yeah, that's like you can have a couple of different PhDs, not just the economical geographers, just but a more industry based kind of, and like almost philosophical based approaches. Like I'd love to have like a network map of what kind of conversations triggered who at what point in time during the open source economy days, or how spin-off events from, I don't know, somewhere in Sydney occurred because of because somebody in Berlin thought of this weird thing called the open source circular economy days. There's so much linkages. Like my economical geographer brain is just like going like, whoa. The mechanics of the mechanics of those interdependencies now. It's too late for me to utter scientific words. I'm just gonna not do that. But the mechanics of it all, it's understanding that would be amazing.
Yeah,
Uh,
the different, how stuff catalyzes and grows or connects.
yeah.
Hmm.
Who knows one day.
There's probably some amazing open source data tool that we're not aware of. Like,
Oh yeah, somebody probably already, like, that's with 9 out of 10 things, is that if you thought of it yourself,
to map this.
yeah, some programmer probably already put it down into code. Like, ooh. Hey,
We're
but I'm gonna
done.
go to bed. It's I had a crazy week,
Yeah,
and
that sounds like a plan. I'm going to be mapping Reading tomorrow, and
yeah, enjoy
it should be good.
a,
It should be
an
nice.
open source
Again, quite
circle economy field
like,
trip.
spending some good time with quality people.
Oh, I didn't tell you the best part. Like one of the spin-offs of the Nijmegen. Right, that's so, and on the scale of random, this one ranks kind of high for me. But because I asked a couple of students, like, could you like join again? I always scout
Yeah,
like for
yeah.
talent. and they're extremely enthusiastically like, yeah, of course we're gonna join. And then I set the date like from the 9th till the 13th of June. And then it's like, oh my God, we can't join because then it's Drift, and that's the biggest dance event in Nijmegen. It's like 6,000 people, but I know the guy who organized it. So I said, like, we could maybe do something at Drift if we come up with a cool concept. And I contacted the guy, like, yeah, no, this is happening, and he said, okay, if you come up with a cool concept for the chill out area,
Yeah.
we can work something out probably. And then I randomly ran into one of the designers at a party from the maker scene, the
Yeah.
Makers Hub, and she just came back from Tanzania. She's a light artist, and there's nothing there in Tanzania, no new products. So she was like, for the last 15 years, she's been de facto operating with a circular way of, well, of course, end of life,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
circular economy, but reuse and refurbish. So we started talking about this, like, what can we do at a festival? And I just said, you know what, just come meet my students and just brainstorm. And out of that came the concept of an organically growing light tree that people can put um, their empty cups in.
Mm.
And it ended it there. So there's now it ended up being a 7 meter high interactive LED powered light tree, which has sensors in it. So if people approach it, it will like react, and it can hold probably up to 9,000 cups, and it
Yeah.
will slowly light up section for section if people throw in more cups.
Yeah. Yeah. I say like
Uh,
recycle. Yeah.
we get
That,
to
like you have to make sure you take a photo or a film or whatever it's best to.
yeah. We're gonna make a stop motion.
What night's that then?
That's gonna be tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
We're gonna do a time lapse. I have to say it right, because the cool thing is that other festivals already, because we built the thing in 3 weeks. We thought of it, and we built it in 3 weeks ago, and now in 1.5 week time we built it.
Yeah.
And other people in the festival scenes already, because they all struggle with the plastic cup problem. Everybody is bummed out about the fact there are so many resources being lost, and it's such a trash. And it's a powerful statement working on that, educationally seen. So already other festivals asked if they could also have it, if we could also build it on their festival, and we hang little placards like. Take action, let the light tree grow, bloom and shine, and create value. And then we made some placards about the open source circular economy days, as well,
Yeah.
explaining what it is, and like the A2 version of the world map with the 74 cities. So that's gonna be tomorrow at a big dance festival, and maybe all out throughout the summer as well. It's not take it's like pure awareness stuff, and we end up, by the way, having a shitload of PET bottles that we can use to shred with the precious plastic. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be an interesting one.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that. So that's what I need my sleep for as well, because I kind of want to be there.
Late night tomorrow. Yeah.
Hey, but it was nice talking to you again, Erica.
Yeah. Nice catching up. We'll chat again soon. At some point.
Yeah, somewhere in this like serene post OSCE day area where everything is like in
I'm,
slowed down.
I'm in the Netherlands for 2 weeks, like end of July, August, doing stuff with Climate Kick.
Oh, cool.
And so in Den Haag and Rotterdam, and visits to other places and stuff with startups. So,
You're in. Let's meet up. Let's just hang out for an afternoon or an evening
cool.
if you get time for it.
Yeah, figuring out when the agenda there. But yeah, no, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, we'll just we'll have a beer.
Reflect.
Okay. Oh, slept. Hey, have a good night.
Yeah.
Night rest and a good day tomorrow.
Good day, good weekend. Bye.
You too. Bye bye.